It's an exciting day.
Keep waving. It's good stuff, man.
The Nikon Z9 is great. The Sony A1 is great. So why did I choose the Canon R3? Welcome to the studio today. It's snowy. It's wet. We got a new camera. Canon R3. Over the month of January, I've already started to record. We're doing 30 days of wedding photography videos. So if you are a wedding photographer, interested in wedding photography, please subscribe and turn the bell on. Every single day, new wedding photography video going up. And in that video set, I still have 2 Canon R6s, so this is a little bit out of sequence. I'm gonna maybe preface this with the fact that the Canon R6 is an amazing camera. I would say overall it's probably become my main camera for wedding photography coverage. Hybrid days, I still sometimes use the Nikon Z6 too, but also I find myself increasingly using the R6. So if you are on the R6, I will be doing more in-depth comparisons about my findings. I will talk you through kind of my decision-making process in this video for why I went to the R3. And this is from my perspective of somebody that does both photography and also video coverage, and video coverage on wedding days with photography also on the same day. So let's open this up. I don't think I've done an unboxing, like a real unboxing ever before. I've done a fake unboxing where I just did noises with a Fuji X-T4, I think. Here it is. Unboxing complete. There it is. The Canon R3. You're gonna see this a lot in a lot of different videos. Oh, that's interesting though. It's a little, I don't know if you can see that. Here, I'll hide. But the hot shoe cover is different. Wow, how exciting. Look at how long that hot shoe is. Got that long hot shoe. #1 selling feature of the Canon R3. Long hot shoe. I'm guessing there's probably a battery in here. Got a battery. Got the largest charger in the world. Get to charge 2 batteries at once, and you get to carry this with you now whenever you travel. So enjoy. I haven't actually looked into it, but I would assume that it does charge USB-C, so if you don't want to bring this with you, that's probably fine. I honestly don't even know how to get the battery in the camera. Let's figure that out together. And now, fully functioning Canon R3. It's on P mode, just for professional. One thing that I've noticed is that they've moved the record button back here. I will have to experiment a little bit with that. Do I have the ability to turn this on right now? Okay, I'm gonna quickly set the date and time, and then we're going to experiment together. Whereas when I hit the record button, what happens? Am I allowed to record a video, or do I have to be in video mode to record a video? So that took a moment, but good news. I was nervous that for some reason they watered that out. So one of the big issues, I guess, to speak about for hybrid photography, if you're on the Canon R6, which I do love, if you just hit the record button, it just launches you into automatic video mode. You can't set that to be manual. So if you're, for instance, myself, I'm out there on a wedding day doing both photography and video. I just want to be able to hit that button. On the R6, you have to change the dial, and it's a physical dial up top. Here, I can now just set my custom video settings to C3, and then when I hit the button, even when I'm in photo mode, it'll launch into C3 video mode, which is amazing. That's it was almost enough reason for me to go to the R5, but we'll talk about why I didn't actually go for the R5 in a minute here. One of the other key features for me, and maybe this goes to the fact that I'm up here in Canada, and we're probably likely going to have masks for a little while now, and when I actually shoot through the viewfinder, if I'm taking photos like this, I actually fog my viewfinder up. So I've been using my LCD, my display screen, a lot more over the past couple of years, and I've become very comfortable with it. As somebody that does both photography and video, it's very, very nice to just kind of be set up for it. You feel a little bit weird for a while as somebody that's always been on a digital SLR through a viewfinder. It feels a bit weird to make that transition, but once you do, I feel like I am creating better work overall. The other thing I think that is to be said about that is that you can get a lot of candid moments and frames that you would not have gotten had you had to bring your camera up to your face, especially with a large lens. That if you're shooting something like this with maybe the 35 or maybe an 85, you can be very unobtrusive to the scene and you will not attract a lot of attention. So if you want to get those great candid shots, it does become easier with this. this, not only because of that, but because of the autofocus. The autofocus in this camera is even better somehow than the R6. I found the R6 to be amazing, and it just kind of reads my mind in pretty much every situation. The bonus that comes with this, so it obviously gets all of that, the autofocus is even better, and also you get eye control autofocus as well. So that means when you're looking around, it'll actually just be focusing on whatever you're looking at, which is incredible. I would say for the 2 or 3 times in a wedding day that I would need something like that, it's typically during the ring exchange when the priest's or pastor officiant's face is in the background and the camera's trying to focus on their face rather than their hands. Now all of a sudden I can kind of go, well, we'll talk more about this. We'll do some full wedding days with it, and I'll give you kind of all the information about how it actually works in the field. As you probably know, it's a stacked sensor, which means it's going to give you ridiculous low light performance. The R6 was already ridiculous in the low light performance category, and I don't know how it could get better, but it's gotten better. The sensor is better overall. The step from my R6 to this, I'm going from 20, I think what's an R6, 20.6 megapixels up to 24 megapixels. I feel like 24 is kind of I had no problems with the 20, to be honest, but 24 feels a little bit better. There were some times that I had to do some cropping to images, and I felt that I still did have the resolution, but I could have had a little bit more. So 24 I feel like is kind of that perfect wedding photography megapixel, and that is a reason that when looking at something like the Nikon Z9 or the Sony A1 or even the Canon R5, it's too many megapixels, I think, for what I need. And I know that there are custom RAW in here as well, that you can set C-RAW, and it kind of shoots a more compressed RAW version. And it does compress the file size to basically, my issue with shooting large files is that I don't want to fill up cards that if I'm out there, I want to put 2 128 or maybe 256 cards in here, and I don't have to change anything. I don't want to have to put stuff in a card wallet. I leave everything just in here. And at 24 megapixels, I can probably shoot on a 256 card. I can probably shoot like at least a couple of wedding days, so I have that backup still. So like I like to have backups of backups of backups, and if I don't have to wipe those cards before going to a wedding and I can just start a new folder and know that I have plenty of space, I would rather be doing that, I think, overall. Another huge feature with I guess Canon and Sony cameras is that you can write to multiple cards when you're doing video files. So one of the issues I think with the Nikon Z6 II is that you can only write to, it's a very good, it's the XQD or the CF Express card, the good card that's in there. You also have an SD, which is I guess also a good card, but I feel like it's more likely to fail than an XQD. And when I'm out there doing video coverage on a wedding day, I will typically shoot 2 bodies a lot more than I have to, just to kind of hedge any potential issues, because I know that each of those cameras only have 1 card recording video. This just records video to both cards. Same with the R6, same with the R5, and same with, I think, any of the Sony cameras. This creates something else that's interesting for me as a video creator. And especially one that self-films and we do some long form content, there is, well, there is a record limit, but the record limit is 6 hours. So I can run this camera for 6 hours, as long as I have the card space in there in one clip. So you can just like start and stop it again if you want to go for that 12-hour, I guess, live stream. I don't know what you could possibly do with 12 hours of continuous footage, which is really quite awesome. I would say for in an actual wedding day scenario, the issue that I could find myself running into every now and then is if I'm doing a Catholic ceremony or just a longer ceremony in general, that even if the ceremony falls, if this, I would say a usual ceremony for me is maybe 15 to 25 minutes. If it's not in a church, if it's in a church, maybe it's 45 to an hour. And the issue that I find is that you never really know when the wedding's starting. Like the back door's open and somebody peeks through and you're like, oh, I'll go hit record on all the cameras. And you do that. And then it turns out it's another 20 minutes before they actually begin anything. To just know that I can just kind of set this and that I can flip the screen so I can see it kind of from somewhere. If you are shooting, I guess, that style of coverage more, I might recommend that you go with something like a Sony FX3 that actually has the red tally lights on here, so you can have more of a visual confirmation that, like, yeah, my stuff's working. But for me as a hybrid photographer, the FX3 is 12 megapixels, so unfortunately it doesn't really cut it. Overall, I don't like the size. You will see me rarely using this button. My brain is so just, I don't take my hand off the camera if I'm doing a vertical frame. That's how I'm doing, especially now that I'm using the screen, that when I'm doing vertical frames, I'm shooting like this. So I'm not gonna be replacing my hand on the camera unless I'm doing maybe a portrait shoot where everything is supposed to be vertical, or maybe we're doing like Instagram Reels content or something if we're shooting it like this. But you'll see me being the idiot that just does this all of the time. And people get angry about that. They get really angry when they see that on the internet. So please don't be one of those people. they get angry at me for something so stupid. It does come with the bottom buttons, but I will find my hand usually like this. Ergonomically, this camera is also very, very nice. It feels nicer than it looks on the internet. I saw the pictures and I'm like, that looks like it's gonna not feel nice, but it actually feels pretty nice. Another benefit of having a larger camera body is if you are doing video and you're doing handheld video, you're gonna be a lot more stable. I find that having the additional grip, if you're holding your camera like this, you can get some really, I don't know, are people gonna make fun of me for this? But I do find that if I'm holding my camera with two hands and I have a battery grip, that I do get much more stable footage. The viewfinder back here, I don't know if you can see it, but it's gigantic. It's a very, very large viewfinder. Very comfortable to be using for a full wedding day. Another amazing thing with any of the Canon cameras, as well as I would say the Nikon cameras are close to on par with this as well. Nikon just has less VR lenses in their Z lineup. With Canon, when you stack a lens that has IS in the lens with the IS that's in the camera body, the IS in the camera body is amazing. It is my favorite IBIS, I think, of all of the systems for sure. And when you stack a lens with additional IS on it, it will allow you to do things that are completely impossible. So if you are someone that does a lot of handheld video, or you just want to get really creative with photography, we've easily done 1 second exposures handheld with this. It's just kind of nuts. So if you want to do those star photos with your couple, or you want to do some cars kind of moving in the foreground, it will unlock those abilities for you. When it does come to video, it's obviously a fully capable, more capable than I will ever find myself using video camera. It does 6K, which is great. I'll shoot 4K 60 most of the time, but you can shoot 6K 60 and you can shoot 6K in RAW. Again, not something that's outside of what I would usually be using, but it is nice to have if I ever do find myself in that commercial environment that I do have to create some RAW footage for somebody to grade afterwards. For wedding days, usually we're shooting 4K 60, or even in the past I've been doing 1080 60 and it's been fine as well. But shooting 4K definitely does allow you to kind of crop in a little bit more than if you shot things maybe a little bit wider than you should have, or maybe you just can fix the frame a little bit, or somebody's doing something distracting out that side. To be able to crop the frame in a little bit is an amazing thing. The last thing I'll touch on, and I guess maybe it's kind of based on that point, was that this Canon R6, I'm recording in HD on this R6 right now, because I know that if I do a 4K clip and I try to talk for a half an hour and edit from that the camera will likely start to overheat, and it will start to give me those warnings, and it'll make me a little bit nervous seeing the little flashing red light. On a wedding day, it's the same. Especially if you're in the hot sun and you're trying to shoot 4K 60 with it, you're going to get very limited time with it. The workaround that everybody uses is you can use an external monitor, and if you're using an external monitor, you seem to get unlimited record time out of it without overheating. But for myself as a hybrid photo video creator, I don't want to have a monitor necessarily on my camera all of the time in order to get around that issue. This does not have that issue. Although I do need to buy new cards, so I'm a bit bummed about that. I was hoping that it was gonna be that hybrid. The one is an SD slot and one's a CF Express slot. I was hoping that it was gonna be a slot where it accepts a CF Express, but also you can put a SD card in there. It's my only complaint so far. We will all see together how this camera works in the field. I will be doing lots of tests. I'll do maybe a setup for it, because there were a few things specifically for hybrid photographers that I basically, the camera comes default that C3, which is what you have to set your video settings to, isn't enabled. So you have to go into the menus to enable C3 to exist, and then you can write things to it. I don't know. I feel like this just checks all the boxes for me. I am very comfortable with it. I've been using the Canon system for, I guess, this R6 for a couple of years now. The other thing I guess to mention is that most of my immediate people that I work with all the time are now on Canon R6s. My wife Lindsay has come from a Nikon D850 and D750 to an R6, and Tim has come from a number of different things. Unfortunately, sorry, this is just a shout out to Tim. You're gonna wanna buy this, unfortunately. Sorry, dude. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. January. Every single day we're gonna be doing a video on wedding photography, so please subscribe. Also, there's a link in the description below to get access to that, and it is also gonna come with a bit of a special thing that I'm kind of working on the details of right now. But if you're on that course list and you're getting the emails, you will be the first to find out about it. And I think there's only gonna be 5 of these, sorry I'm so secretive, 5 of the spots available. There's lots of spots. You can sign up until December 31st on that site to get access to the course, so that's fine, but there's going to be 5 of these secret special spots that are something that will definitely help your business a lot. So thanks for watching, and see you next time. The Canon R3. Feels really nice.